They say a mirror never lies. But what if it did? What if it concealed not just fleeting glimpses of ourselves, but something darker? Something waiting. My darlings, welcome back to another twisted chapter of Echoes of the Dark. Tonight's tale is called The Crimson Reflection. And I must warn you, be careful what you seek, for some truths are better unseen. Let me tell you about Elena. Beautiful, confident, an interior designer who knew how to impress. Her talent? Turning old, decayed houses into treasures of elegance. But as they say, not everything that gleams is gold. One fateful client introduced her to an antique, an ornate, blood-red mirror discovered amongst rubble, unwanted and forgotten. The moment Elena laid eyes on it, she claimed, This will be my masterpiece." Little did she know, she just invited her greatest terror. The mirror wasn't just crimson by design. No, it felt alive. Its frame carved with intricate vines, thorns spiraling into a perfect, dreadful bloom. It had scratches, as though things had tried to claw their way out. Elena stood captivated. "Unpolished beauty," she whispered. "Isn't that what we all tell ourselves when we refuse to look deeper?" She brought it home, of course, mounted it in her private studio, the one room untouched by clients. She called it inspiration. First night, nothing unusual. But on the second night, oh, sweet listener, that's when it began. She glanced up at the mirror briefly, seeing only her reflection, or so she thought. Yet something felt wrong. She stared longer, so long her own eyes burned into hers. Something shifted. "It's just my mind playing tricks on me," she told herself. Isn't that always the perfect lie to silence the whispers in your head? But the whispers in Elena's life stopped being in her head. They started in her studio. At first faint, soft sighs echoing from the mirror. She'd freeze but see nothing, hear nothing, and convince herself it was exhaustion. Day turned to night as she ignored the signs, a shadow darting where no shadow should be, its movements outpacing her breath. Who questions a shadow when there's no one else in the room? She did what we all do to manage fear. Distraction. Projects piled up, yet each time she entered the studio, a feeling deeper than unease consumed her. The whispers grew louder, angrier. She began to hear her name. Her name. Have you ever heard your name from a place you assumed was empty, intimately hollow, rasping like the breath of 1,000 regrets? And yet, she stayed. Because the human mind craves understanding, doesn't it? We're no better than moths flying too close to the flame. Days passed. Her reflection mirrored her less and less. Its eyes, though golden brown like hers, glared deeper, sharper. The reflection moved slower, or sometimes, not at all. Have you ever watched your own motion betrayed by its mimic? She began avoiding the studio, yet she could feel the mirror waiting, calling through walls as though hungry. Against her better judgment, she reached out to an appraiser. Mr. Harlow, an eccentric man obsessed with antiques, arrived with a suitcase full of odd-looking devices. "Beautiful," he spoke while inspecting the frame. His fingers grazed its thorns. Then, a sudden gasp. He pulled his hand away, streaked with blood. "It bit me," the old man stammered. She laughed nervously. He didn't. He turned pale and whispered bluntly, "This should be destroyed." Elena scoffed at his fear. Destroy her favorite piece? Impossible. But he left abruptly, pale and shaky, muttering prayers under breath. And that night, the mirror claimed its first victim. Curiosity perched on Elena like a vulture. She stared into the mirror longer than ever before. What she saw, oh darling, do you dare imagine? The reflection didn't follow her gestures this time. Instead, it stepped closer, closer, until its face was so close to the glass it fogged. Only it wasn't Elena anymore. It was a grotesque imitation. Bloated, tear-streaked cheeks, eyes that screamed centuries of torment. And then, it smiled. A smile so wide, it wasn't human anymore. On instinct, Elena smashed a lamp down to shatter the mirror. But not a scratch blemished its cursed surface. The reflection raised its ghastly hand, and to her horror, she felt it. Sharp nails dragging against her own skin, though nothing touched her. And the reflection spoke. "I see you. Oh, invisible chains bind us most tightly, don't they?" She tried leaving the room. The door wouldn't budge. Her phone? Dead. The mirror's whispers intensified into maddening laughter, a cacophony of agony, and in that moment, she understood. The mirror. It fed on her vanity, on her doubts. She tried fire, covering it, throwing salt, every desperate ritual she found online, but the mirror retaliated. Each night, her studio grew colder, her reflection more disfigured. And then, after weeks of torment, she disappeared. A client came searching, found her abandoned home, and the mirror. And on its reflective crimson surface was rough writing that read, "She never left." They say a mirror never lies. But what about a mirror that shows someone's fate before it happens? Would you dare look? Oh, you brave little moths, be careful. Some reflections come with a price you can't afford to pay. Now, look behind you. This has been The Crimson Reflection. Rest well, if you dare.